If you care about the survival of American democracy, then what you are about to read matters far more than any single election or any single political figure. This is not just a story about Donald Trump. It is a story about power, institutions, and the fragile line that separates democratic governance from political chaos. For decades, the United States presented itself to the world as a model of institutional stability. Presidents came and went, parties rose and fell, but the courts, the rule of law, and the basic norms of democratic conduct were treated as untouchable. Today, those assumptions are under unprecedented strain. Donald Trump is not merely a former president. He is a political force that has reshaped American politics in ways few anticipated. To his supporters, he represents defiance against an entrenched elite. To his critics, he represents a direct threat to democratic norms. What makes this moment dangerous is not that these disagreements exist, but that they now play out inside courtrooms, turning legal proceedings into political battlegrounds. The American legal system was never designed to function as a campaign stage. Courtrooms are meant to be slow, methodical, and resistant to spectacle. Politics, by contrast, thrives on drama, conflict, and constant attention. When these two worlds collide, the result is instability. Every indictment, every motion, every judicial ruling involving Trump is immediately reframed through a political lens. Supporters claim persecution. Opponents claim accountability. The legal facts become secondary to the narrative war playing out on television screens and social media feeds. This transformation has placed judges in an impossible position. If they rule against Trump, they are accused of bias, corruption, or acting on behalf of shadowy forces. If they rule in his favor, they are accused of weakness or complicity. The judiciary, an institution built on legitimacy and public trust, now finds itself under attack from all sides. The role of lawyers has also changed. In traditional legal practice, attorneys argue within the rules of procedure and decorum. In high-stakes political trials, however, legal strategy increasingly overlaps with media strategy. Statements are crafted not just for the judge, but for voters. Court filings become talking points. Legal setbacks are repackaged as proof of political persecution. This blurring of boundaries has consequences. When legal teams adopt theatrical tactics, they risk undermining the very system that allows them to operate. Courts rely on compliance, respect, and shared norms. Without those, enforcement becomes the only option, and enforcement escalates conflict. The media environment amplifies this problem. American media is deeply polarized. One side frames legal proceedings as necessary accountability. The other frames them as evidence of a weaponized justice system. Nuance is lost. Context is ignored. What remains is outrage, tailored to different audiences. Social media accelerates everything. Clips are edited, headlines are distorted, and narratives spread faster than facts can be verified. A single courtroom exchange can generate millions of views before the day is over. In this environment, restraint is punished and provocation is rewarded. International observers are watching closely. For decades, American officials lectured other nations about judicial independence and democratic norms. Now, those same observers ask whether the United States can meet the standards it once demanded of others. The stakes extend beyond Donald Trump or the 2024 election. The real question is whether democratic institutions can withstand sustained attacks from within. Democracies rarely collapse overnight. They erode slowly as norms are weakened, trust is destroyed, and rules are treated as optional. The answer will define the future of the republic. Beyond the immediate courtroom drama lies a deeper structural problem that the United States has not fully confronted. Modern American politics increasingly treats institutions as tools rather than guardrails. Courts are expected to deliver favorable outcomes. Elections are expected to validate pre-existing beliefs. This shift did not happen overnight. It is the result of years of erosion in public trust, fueled by economic inequality, cultural polarization, and a media ecosystem that rewards outrage over understanding. Donald Trump did not create these conditions, but he has proven exceptionally skilled at exploiting them. In this environment, loyalty often replaces principle. Political identity becomes more important than institutional integrity. Defending a leader becomes synonymous with defending democracy itself, even when that defense involves undermining the very systems that democracy depends on. The legal battles surrounding Trump have accelerated this transformation. Each court appearance becomes a referendum on the legitimacy of the justice system. The danger of this mindset is profound. Courts function because their authority is accepted, even by those who lose. Once that acceptance disappears, enforcement becomes the only remaining mechanism of control. Lawyers face incentives that did not exist in earlier eras. Traditional legal success is measured in arguments sustained. In today's political trials, success is increasingly measured in media reach and narrative dominance. The courtroom becomes one stage among many. Judges operate under unprecedented scrutiny. Every word is parsed, every expression analyzed. The expectation that judges remain impartial while being relentlessly attacked tests the very notion of judicial independence. The impact on jurors is equally concerning. Ordinary citizens are asked to weigh evidence objectively in cases that dominate national headlines. Political leaders bear responsibility for this climate. When leaders suggest courts are illegitimate, they weaken civic trust. Democracy depends on the willingness to lose. When defeat becomes unacceptable, politics becomes a zero-sum contest. Internationally, this damages America's credibility. Authoritarian governments eagerly exploit these contradictions. Over time, emergency measures become routine, and the extraordinary becomes ordinary. The United States stands at a crossroads. One path leads toward power-defining legitimacy. The other leads toward renewed commitment to rules that constrain power. The story unfolding now is not just about one man or one election. It is about whether a constitutional system built on norms and trust can survive an era of permanent conflict. The stakes could not be higher.